Hello and welcome to Winter is Crappening. I'm Ronnie and that's Ben over there. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ronnie. How's it going?
Good. Congratulations. It is our 2500th show, 2500th show of Watch What Crappens. And it's not even a Watch What Crappens, really. It's a House of the Dragon. How do you feel about that?
I love it. It would be funny if it was our 2500th episode of House of the Drag or of Winter's Crappening. Like we just did an episode for every single scene that's ever been on Game of Thrones. But yeah, I cannot believe we've made it 2500 episodes. That is wild that we've been talking that much.
Yeah, it's a lot of yapping, people, but
I
we
couldn't
love being
imagine
here.
doing it with anyone else.
Yeah, guys, we love each other and we love being inside of you, your ears, that is. So thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
We love doing this. Thank you for being here. If you're on Winter's Crappening, you're probably like, what the hell? I've listened to you guys for like 10 hours. So get over yourselves.
I
But the
know.
rest of you, thank you so much.
I know. You're only on episode 7 so far of your podcast. I don't know why you're saying 2500.
I know. Well, actually, I think it was like episode 17 or something of or House of the or Winter's Crappening podcast. But guess what? We were also like this on episode 10 of that. We're like, Ben, we just
Yeah.
made it 10 episodes on Winter's Crappening. So yeah, we're impressed every
very
step of the
cool.
way with us. So thank you for being
We're
on board.
impressed with ourselves. We, much like the creators of House of the Dragon, whenever they do their inside the show vignette at the end of the episode, we are very impressed with ourselves.
Yeah, we are our best audience.
You know what?
No, just kidding.
And
You are our best audience. But God damn it, we're grateful for us too.
yeah, no, it is amazing. It's been a great ride, and it will continue on for 2,500 more episodes, I'm sure. I mean, we've been doing this for 12 years, and listen, don't give me an excuse to be nostalgic and wax poetic about our time together as podcasters, because I will do it. I will definitely do it. I will go down memory lane.
Well, hey, no one's going to stop you. Lord knows, old man Methuselah, it's our time. We can do it if we want. If we
Listen,
goddamn well want to.
the history of our podcast, the things we've talked about, is more complex than any family tree on House of the Dragon. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know. It gets pretty complex on this show. I spend a lot of my week reading Reddit threads about what the hell happened in the last episode. And I swear to you, by the time I get back to these new episodes and they show what happened before, I'm like, when did that happen? I don't remember that. It takes up a lot of brain space for non-intelligent people like me. I'm just not used to
Yeah.
this. Okay. But I still love it. My favorite soap opera on TV. And this episode is ultimately one of my favorites because not only was it a really good episode, but I'm a theater queen and I love a good audition episode. I've been waiting for this chorus line. I hope I get it. I hope I get it. How many writers do they need? No, just a bunch of blonde people holding headshots in front of their faces, getting ready to do the audition for the chorus line. And look, I just did.
Like
I even did a rain.
You just did something.
I did a
For
rain
those
thing in front of my face. The whatever headshot holding up the headshot made rain in front of my face on our video chat.
It's not happening again. So we're doing this is Crappens on demand. So if you want to actually watch us instead of listen to us, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/watchourcrappens. And Ronnie just made a gesture that caused rain to appear. Let's see if I can do it. Can I make rain happen? I can't make the rain's not happening for me.
Lightning does not strike twice, apparently. So
Come on,
yeah, I love an
rain.
audition episode. And
It's
it's
not
also
working.
really good to see blonde people get a chance because, especially as someone
Yeah.
from Texas where blonde people don't get anything, let me just tell you, it is nice to see blonde people getting ahead in this world. Okay. Were you not already
Glad you
given the
finally said it.
entire fucking world to rule? Do you not already own every high school in Texas? You know what I mean? Fucking blonde people. Just give them more.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of blonde people, I spent a lot of energy this episode trying to really decode that tapestry in the opening credits, because it always has little Easter eggs and stuff in it and sort of shows what's happening. And so there's a lot of blonde people on that tapestry. And I was like, well, we're 7 episodes in. So now a lot of these things on this tapestry, I'll understand. I'm like, oh, there's there's the dead little boy. There's the rat catchers hanging. There's 2 dragons that are going at each other. Maybe that was that battle from like Rook's Rest or whatever it was called a few weeks ago. I was like, okay, I still can't figure out anything on that tapestry. And I was really doing that. I was like scrunching up my eyebrow to show I was really concentrating. And that tapestry, I know I could go onto Reddit and there probably is an explanation for all the imagery, but I want to figure it out myself. And so far, I am failing. I am not a good tapestry interpreter.
It just goes too fast for me. Like I really need to stare at things. Do you know how to do those artwork things where you stare at it looks just like a pattern, but you have to stare at it for a long time and then it turns
Magic
into
Eye.
something else?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Magic
there's
Eye.
like a yeah, Magic Eye. They're called something fancy. I forget.
Yeah, something. Yeah, it's probably called like a something gram. Where if it's always like a peace sign, it's always someone holding up with their fingers like a peace sign. It's like, really? Or a
Yes.
heart.
Yeah, or like I saw one that's like a spaceship going into a rock or something like that. And I have never been able to do that. And this weekend, for whatever reason, well, one was on Reddit or something. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna figure this out because I've never been able to do it. And it took me hours and I finally saw one that was like magic. I mean, I see why they
Mm,
call it the magic eye because I really felt like I've I'm something. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had
yeah.
that feeling like you're like, I'm finally not a piece of shit. Like I finally learned something about how the world works, or I can see like a new way. It was like the first time I did acid, and I was like, oh my God, this just fixed my brain. Um, I
Well, it's a
did not
great
feel like that
parallel for
watching
this
this
episode.
opening. I did not feel like that watching
Got
this
it.
episode. It's
I'm
very
wearing a
difficult.
shirt that sort of looks like a magic magic eye pattern now that I look at it. But so if you stare at my shirt and cross your eyes, you will see a heart in 3
You are
dimensions.
kind of wearing a shirt like that. Yeah, I do see that. And actually, guess what I'm doing right now? I'm downloading the opening to Game of Thrones
Now,
because
I'm
I
the
want.
other one thing I just want to say, sorry to interrupt, is that I didn't want to scrutinize it too much because I also didn't want to have a spoiler for next week. So, I don't know. What I can't tell is, are the vignettes, do they pertain solely toward the season or is it the entire storyline? Because there's stuff on there that I'm like, that almost looks like it was from season one, or something like some of it looks like Viserys is in the tapestry. And some of it is like, I don't know what that is. It's a lot of dragons attacking each other. So I don't know. It's a lot. I'm really tapestry stymied this week.
Are you? Well, I'm trying to look at it in
Yeah.
slow motion, but it's like I don't know. It's hard because it's tapestry. I need like more details. There's like people working and then they're bleeding, you know? It's like
Yeah.
and then there's like a guy in a shield, and then there's a guy who's broken, and then there's people who are like kind of groveling towards the ground, like maybe it looks like they just dropped like marbles and they're trying to pick up all the marbles from the ground.
Mm,
There's a guy getting his chop. There's a lot of heads being chopped off in this.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a common theme. Heads being chopped off.
Blonde
Um,
people, a lot of blonde people
blonde
with crown.
people. Every now and
Mhm.
then you can see Corliss in there. I think. I assume it's Corliss.
Yeah,
Dragons.
I see a lot of blonde people. I mean, it's like watching, it's like watching a Republican National Convention, basically. Okay, so let's go into the episode. We
Well,
start
we right off
on
the
the
bat.
beach. We'll
Right off the
see
bat.
Smoke and Syrax staring each other down. This was so cool. This was a beautifully shot scene. Great dragon work in this whole episode. They're really paying off with the dragons.
Yeah, I can see why this series took 2 years to come to HBO because they probably had to spend a year animating all these dragons. This was a very dragon heavy episode. So we see these two dragons on a beach. We see Ray Ray, we see Adam standing facing each other, etc. And so Ray Ray is like, "You stand before the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms with a dragon of the House Targaryen," and he's like, "Yeah, no, I fully know who you are. Huge fan. Fun fact, I actually work on your island. You may not have seen me, but I'm actually on your island already. I just happen to have a dragon. So yeah.
And meanwhile, the dragons are like,
Yeah, they need to settle down, right?
how about you guys shut the fuck up and let us talk? How about that? Okay. Jeez. So she's like, what do you want? And he says, I want to learn the way of dragon riders and serve my queen. And then he kneels, which was pretty easy. I mean, that was like she basically scored with this one.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be like, you know what? I have a lot of daddy issues. My dad doesn't even acknowledge me, and now I finally have a dragon, and I want to prove to the world that I've got that I'm worthwhile. And so I thought he was gonna be kind of like really annoying and be like, well, now I would like something out of this. No, he was actually like totally chill. He was like, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I got a new car.
Yeah, I thought he
I'm
was
a big
gonna be
fan.
like, "Thanks for the dragon. You don't necessarily own all dragons, obviously, because I have one now, and guess what? I don't wanna work for you. I don't wanna go to stupid war. I'm a Postmate person now. Like, I'm a TaskRabbit.
Yeah,
So if you need anything, I will be earning a living the way I want to now. How about that?
yeah.
It's called independence."
And last week, my theory was that because he did not show fear, I said the dragon was going to eat him, but because he didn't show fear, the dragon was like, "Actually, I like you, and you have like royal blood in you." But it seems like your theory was actually the right one, which is that no, the dragon actually chose him. The dragon found Adam and chose him, and he tells Ray Ray, he's like, "The dragon came to me, not I to him, and I have sweated blood in the service of House Valerion. I may appear lowborn, but I have great hair and I know much more about service. And if the gods call me to the greater things, who am I to refuse them?"
And she's like, "Who are your parents, sir?" And he's like, "Well, my mom was a shipwright, which is like a playwright, but on boats. She only wrote boat plays. So most of them were jukebox musicals. Not gonna lie. I know that you guys look down upon that on land, but cruises love them, especially if you serve a little dinner."
Shipwright, more like ship wrong. Yes. Well, and my father, funny story about my father. He's not really important. Definitely not important. You don't know. I'm gonna say right now, you definitely have never met him, and you definitely don't rely on his advice for anything in your life. So we don't have to talk about my dad anymore.
And she's like, "So your ancestors, are they from my family or?" And he's like, I don't know. We don't really keep annals." And she's like, "Well, we do a lot of anal in this family, a lot of intermixing. You know what I mean?" He's like,
Butt
"No,
stuff.
we don't keep records." She's like, "Oh yeah, we hate records here. Only CDs in this family or MP3s. Yeah, they go fast. Have you ever heard of LimeWire?"
I'm not familiar, but now that I've got a dragon, maybe I can learn more things like this. Okay, well, what is your name? He goes, Adam of Hall. That's two D's. Two D's.
And also two L's at the end. She's like, "All
That's
right, consonant lover. Now listen, you've done something I feared impossible. You have made my dragon complain loudly over nothing." Just kidding. He does that all the time. Shut up back there. He's like,
I know. Cyrax, would you just calm down? Cyrax is like, I'm sorry. I just don't like being named after an over the counter medication. Because that's sort of what Cyrax sounds like.
"Don't make me replace you with your brother Pyrex, right? The great unbreakable. So now listen here, Adam of Hull. Do you think you could get that dragon to Dragonstone?" He's like, "I can try." Let's do it.
I have a question. This pertains to a comment I made just a few minutes ago. All the shipbuilding, all the people like Adam of Hull and his brother, what's his face, Alan, they've been working on ships. Has that been on Dragonstone? Because I used to think it was actually over at the other place where Corlys has his like drift mark or whatever, or like high tide. It's casino slash castle high tide. But it seems like they're always going back and forth from there so quickly that then I started to think like maybe it's actually a different part of Dragonstone. But
I don't think it's Dragonstone because everything's named so obviously here. It's like,
yeah,
I'm going from
high tide.
Dragonstone to boat wood.
Boatland.
I'm going to Boatwood.
Boat ship. I'm going to boat ship. Okay, because I just said that. I just made it sound like Adam was working on Dragonstone, but I don't think he was working on Dragonstone. I think he was over at Driftmark. But he's like, I've been working at Boaty McDockerson and found a dragon.
Yeah. So now we go to King's Landing and Allison's quarters. And she's like, "Oh, all I've done." It's like, I feel like she's having a real mom moment because I feel like my mom has these moments where she's like, "Well, forgive me for spending my life doing what everyone in this family wanted me to do. I'm so sorry that I spent all of my time worrying about you kids instead of following my own dreams." Like Allison's having that kind of a moment because she just got told
Yeah.
off by her son or whatever.
Yeah. She looks like she's getting a mani-pedi at first, but then you realize that she actually just has a scar from when she was out with the people and they called her Queen of the Fishes. So she's the Orwell is there tending to her. She's like, "Oh, please, I just have one request. don't put leaves on my cut. They don't do anything. I don't want to be the one to have to tell you this. I know you're so proud of your leaves, but it's just going to heal without the leaves.
He's like, well, no, I'm going to put leaves on this, but let me tell you something, man. All right. You're going to have a scar, but here's the bright side. It's going to be shaped like a leaf. She's like, damn it.
She goes, nothing is clean here, including your leaves. And then we see a rat scurrying around because all the rat catchers are dead, dummies. And so
Yeah,
she's
no
really
kidding.
bummed.
Yeah. But also, it's like they killed all the tortilla makers. They're like, where are all the burritos? Am I right?
Just
I
like
saw
that.
this at the end of the it's the exact same thing. So I saw at the end of the episode, the after the episode thing, that she got a scar in the same place that Ray Ray
Yes.
got a scar in the first
Yes.
season, which I never would have recognized at all. So thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me know that.
I know.
So now we go to Sir Rickard in front of Allison's quarters. She's like, we're out of this dump. Get the car ready. He's like, we're going to Kingswood, bitch. He's like, well, I'll have people prepare a retinue.
No retinue. Ugh, I hate a retinue. All right. Well, how about your handmaidens? No handmaidens, no retinue. Just you, just me, and a little tent. Let's do it.
Yeah. So now Iron Rod comes up to talk to Laris. Favorite name. God, I love Jasper. I love a good Jasper Iron Rod. So hot. So they're watching somebody get in trouble, right?
Yeah. So basically, they're looking over the courtyard, and down in the courtyard, Aemond is sentencing two men of the guard to go serve at the wall because he says they started the riot or something that happened last week. So Ironwood, who's really done nothing this season, he's like, well, guess what? I have received word of a great matter of importance and rumor of a sighting of a dragon, the dragon, Sea Smoke, and Sea Smoke has a rider. And Laris is like, it's a fine piece of intelligence, but unless you've got a foot that I can jerk off to, I really don't care. Okay?
He's like, well, I thought I could seek your advice. Lord Laris whispers being your province. He's like, well, if you consider it valuable, maybe you could deliver it and find favor with Aemond yourself, whisper man, whisper apprentice. And then we see Aemond downstairs like, you're not Laura Dern, and you're not Laura Dern. Guess who's Laura Dern? Me, you're dying. Have fun
Go
at
to
the
the
wall,
wall.
probably future dead people.
So Iron Rod's talking about this dragon thing. He's like, well, I mean, surely it must be Lady Rhaena who found the dragon. She's wanted for a dragon all her life. And Laris is like, oh, indeed. But she tried already. But when she was 4 and 10, 14. Sorry, it's just it's more fun way of saying 14. The best. Okay, Sea Smoke nearly devoured her. I mean, who else? Who else would it be?
And so he's like, so where'd you hear about this? And Iron Rod's like, well, my squire heard it from a stable hand who heard it from his father, who's a fisherman, whose shipmate claims he saw it. And he's like, oh, really? Well, you're welcome to bring that news to Prince Regent, but perhaps this might be one of those whispers best left to the wind. Mr. Gossipy Gossip, like who is a ship person to a bird person to a band-aid person to a river person? Too many poor people.
Listen, I have a whisper brand to protect, and I can't have these long strings of whisper telephone games happening. Okay, so let's just table this one, and if we see a dragon, which we probably won't, definitely not by the end of the episode, then we can revisit it. Okay?
Life isn't a game of Raven phone. Get out. Get out. So then we go to Dragonstone, and Jace is squinting because that's what Jace did. Was Jace's auditioning? Was there even a script, or were they just like, Jace, we want you to be very pale and squinty, so just stare at that wall and squint at something deeply. And they
And then
just
say
did it
mother.
until they found.
Say mother in 3 different ways. Okay, mother, mother, mother. You're hired.
I would love a little more mother work, but goddamn, that squint is good. Goddamn, that
So
squint
good.
is good. So, small council, Bela, Corlys, Jace, Lord Baltimore, Sir Alfred. So they're all standing around and they're, doing business. Like, did we get sidewalks in the third quadrant yet? Guys, kids are riding their bikes into the street Absolutely insane. Also, can we get the lemonade shop shut down? We don't even have lemons here. That's false advertising. Those kids are putting rocks in plastic cups and handing them to people.
So they're talking about that, they're talking about this sea smoke situation. And Corliss is like, so who is this who's riding sea smoke? What's going on with this? And they're like, and someone Gerardus says, well, he appears to be a shipwright in your employ, Lord Hand. And someone's like, a commoner, with respect to your workers, Lord Corliss, a lowborn cannot go around seizing dragons. Has the thief been secured?
How you can't steal a dragon? A dragon's like a husband. You
This
can't
is
steal a husband. That husband has to be willing to leave.
Yeah, a dragon is not like a 2013, Kia Forte. Okay, like you don't just like pop your credit card into the side of the door and then just drive off with it. Okay, you have to the dragon has some say in the matter here.
I like you making it so that your key is much safer than the ones that were getting
It
jacked on TikTok.
no,
You're like,
it is.
I'm gonna make a Kia reference just to remind everybody that I have a safe Kia. So
No, because Kia did a redesign in like 2020 because the Kias for the past 10 years were so easily broken into. Of course, now
yeah.
I've jinxed it here on our 2500th episode, and now my poor Kia Sportage is going to get stolen because of my bravado and hubris in saying that mine, and you saying it too. You brought hubris upon my Kia. You have brought a pox upon my Kia, and now it's going to get stolen.
Well, you're basically like Ray Ray. You're like, now listen here. I issue a challenge to all of Kia Stone.
Ronnie,
There's one
I have
unstealable Kia.
I have to tell you the story. This is a secret, and it's about my Kia, and I've been sworn not to tell anyone, but I will tell my podcast partner, 2500 episodes. There is a song of fire and gas, and it is about the Kia that once was promised. And someday we will need that Kia, not to be a leader, but to unite all the big 7 car dealers. That is my Kia Sportage.
That's so sweet.
I got lost. I got lost in my own metaphor there. The point is this. Now I'm really worried that my kid's going to get stolen.
So now they're like, well, all we know about this dragon rider is that he's poor. Okay, so what should we do? Hand. And Corliss is like, well, I think what we should do is wait for the queen. Because like I've been here a week, and how much am I supposed to do? Like, I don't have health insurance yet. Like, how much do you want
Yeah.
from me, people? So like, okay, well, she's not coming into work today. So she's taking another sick day. So then we
And
go to
Corliss,
Ray
by the way,
Ray's.
Corliss has a look on his face when he finds out that it's someone from like the shipyard. He has a look on his face like, "Ay," because he knows who he's fucked. He knows what's in his children's blood. He knows that it's probably going to be either Alan or Adam, and he's hoping it's Alan. Let's be honest.
So then we go to Ray Ray's quarters, and Masari is there, and they're like, "Ooh, You're doing like intrigue talk, and Masari is like, "Well, hey, at least he bowed to you. That's good luck, you know. I mean, God, how many times are you going to get lucky today? Am I right?"
And Ray Ray's like, oh, somehow ordained, sea smoke chosen, and he surely has Targaryen blood in him somewhere. The dragon must sense it. There will be others. We will find riders for Vermithor and Silverwing. Do you want to make out again, by the way? What should we talk about that moment that we had? Is it awkward? Is this awkward now?
And she's like, well, I don't know if I trust him, but he's got a dragon. I mean, without him, I've only got Syrax. I mean, Pyrex is no use. You know he's breakable, right? So the question is, where do I look? You know, there's Targaryen blood. So I guess it was too thin in Darkland. But if I can find others with a more direct line of breeding, I don't know. Do we have any camera footage of sperm insertions? How are we going to do this?
Surely we can find someone to ride Pyrex and Corningware and several of the other dragons we have back there in the den. And Missouri goes, ha 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 ha. Forgive me, your grace, but you are better served looking under the sheets and in the wood piles. I once worked in a pleasure house. Yes, I know. Everything I say to you is like, whorehouse this, whorehouse that. Yes, tell another story about your Johns. Go ahead.
I worked in a pleasure house where generations of Targaryen princelings had their revels. there are four score. She's basically like, there are blonde babies everywhere, and I basically watch them get pumped and dumped. So you
Yes.
need them? I've got a list.
So Ray Ray's like, "Oh, you speak of the lowborn," and she's like, "Yeah, they're likely to serve you as highborn lords or ladies, perhaps more." And so Ray Ray's like, "Yes, no, but that's ridiculous. I mean, like highborn. Okay, first of all, highborn horse houses. You know, there's ancient fealty. There's honor. Okay, we are rich and we have honor." She's like, "Really? So your half brothers, Aegon and Aemond, whose blood is pure, and they wage war against you for your throne, are they bound by honor?" She's like,
She's like, yeah, but poor people. Listen, have you been keeping up with the books that come out for the coffee table called People of Driftmark? Because it's pretty gross. A lot of thongs in lines. Okay.
So Ray Ray's kind of like, well, whatever. I guess we might as well hire the poors. Okay, let's raise an army of bastards.
Well, yeah, basically, she's like, everyone's been making fun of my children for being bastards behind my back. So, you know what? Fuck those people. Let's make a whole army of bastards. And I was like, yes, love it. I gave her some snaps.
So now we're over in Dragonstone, and Adam's looking at his guest quarters, and Corlys walks in, and Adam's like, "My lord," and Corlys, who never acknowledges Adam ever, is like, "My lord, well, how you've come up in the world." And I'm like, does Corlys know that Adam is his son? Because Adam knows that Corlys is his dad, but does Corlys know that Adam is his too? Like, how much do they know about each other?
Yes. I think last week they made it clear that they know, right? I
Right.
thought
Well,
they
he
made
said
it
that
clear.
he says that like Corlys never even speaks to him, pretends that he's not, doesn't even like exist, right? So now I'm like, is Corlys still pretending or is he not pretending? I guess that's more the question. Like, how much is Corlys acknowledging right now that this is his son? Is it like a Kenny Moore situation or not?
I think he acknowledges it because he does the whole like, I'm proud of you, son. And then leaves. He's like, oh, God, that hurt. God, that hurt for me to give a compliment to my child. But I did it. So he says, so you've certainly come up. And Adam's like, well, by the way, just need to take a break because I like have a dragon now. I was thinking maybe post mating, but you know, like until I'm completely confident in that, I'm gonna maybe be working for the war or whatever. And he goes, oh, shut up. Your leave is granted. And by the way, well done, well done. Oh God, that hurt. Oh God.
So then we go over to Harrenhal, the latest in Hallucination Alley. So basically, what's his face? The new Lord Tully has arrived, the little kid. And so, although he's not that little, he has a deep voice. So
Okay,
Damon goes out to meet him.
explain to
Oscar.
me how even the kids on House of the Dragon have that stupid push forward hair.
I was
How
gonna
does he
say the
have
same
that?
thing.
Come
It's the
on.
Gen Z fluffy bang, the broccoli hair.
Yes. The
Okay,
combing your
it's.
hair forward, like perming your hair and then combing it forward. Come on, even on House of the Dragon.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I was like, this kid has the same haircut as every 17-year-old in high school. And by the way, I was watching the Olympics. It's all over the Olympics. The gymnasts, they all have the fluffy bangs. It's out of control.
Yeah. So Damon's talking to Oscar and he's like, oh, sorry about your grandfather dying, probably by that crazy witch lady who poisoned his cornflakes. But congratulations on winning. Okay. So you are Lord Paramount in the Riverlands. Wowee, glorious. Well done.
And he's like, I did nothing. It's like, well, nevertheless, you're here, which is the important thing. It's like, and you were quick enough to dismiss me before. Well, you have no significance of me then, but now I shall have my great host. You have a decision to make, and I presume it's clear which is the right one. So basically, Damon's like, okay, can we like get this army together yet? We finally got your feeble grandfather out of the way. You're in control. Let's do this. Let's go forward.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, call a meeting then of all your vassals, all right, and we'll get a war going. And he's like, well, that might be difficult because you've murdered so many of them horribly.
I
So that
told
probably
you
wasn't a
it was
great
supposed
move.
to be blowjobs. We were supposed to give gay blowjobs to the men, and it just went out of hand. That's it. It was an accident.
And he's like, they hate you. And he goes, I don't need their love. I need their souls. So now we got to go have a meeting with all these people that Damon has just ruined. He's ruined all of their lives and killed all of their families. He's like, okay, let's go get him to volunteer. Am I right? Damon,
Yes.
fucking Damon,
So
man.
they go out to the patio under that tree, the tree which is in the tapestry. So I'm wondering if going back and looking at the tapestry scene, if we see this scene unfurling here. So like the heads of the houses of the river, all the river lords are there, and they all hate him. And Oscar, he's young, and he needs to establish himself as like the ruling voice of all these people. So he's got to do something big. So he's basically like, hi everyone, this is Damon, and Damon's like, well, one thing is clear. The rivermen honor the old ways and abide by tradition. Here then is tradition. Grover Tully is dead. Lord Oscar raised up in his place. You've been summoned here to swear anew your fealty to him, and as his bannermen answer his calls. So are you with me? High five, hands in the air if you're with me. Anyone? Anyone? No?
And they're like, why would we listen to some kid? I mean, look at that hair. And he's like, how dare you? You better respect me. I've just tattooed a butterfly on my chest. They're like, oh, God. How would you do
these
that?
Gen Z people, terrible. Look at the way I make a heart with my hands. I don't put thumb and index finger together. I do index finger and middle finger together because I am from Gen Z and I now rule the Riverlands. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Things have just gone from bad to worse.
So now they're like, and we're now delivering the traitor Amos Bracken and his son. And they're like, oh, really? He's the traitor? Who's the traitor? Blackwood's the traitor. And he's like, listen, I know that I'm young, but I've also got a lady's suit on today. They're like, damn it. What is happening to the youth of America?
Pearl necklaces are for boys now. Oh, the Riverlands have been ruined.
Now you're just trying to confuse us.
So, anyway, the point is that Oscar, no one likes Damon, and he's not going to let Damon just call the shots here. Oscar has to do something to show everyone that like he hears them, because what happened was that Damon had told basically Dwight Yoakam over there, listen, go do something, use the power of persuasion to get people to our sides, which again I thought meant like give out blowjobs, but it turns out it was murder the children and the wives. So
yeah, it was like
a big
raping,
PR
pillaging,
disaster.
and yeah, like complete like slaughter. And so the kid's like, listen, we've pledged fealty, and we should stick with that, even though this guy's a piece of shit. And so Damon's getting all mad. He's like, watch your tongue. He's like, you watch your tongue, stupid, you stupid fucking boomer. Okay. Like you're the one who needs my people. So they're like, well, we need to kill this fucker who killed all our family if you want the band back together, basically. And the guy is like, no, I just was doing my job. So, like, if anything, I'm getting a raise. So, okay, let's all gather around in a circle. It is not my day for cupcakes. I get the biggest cupcake, and also I'm getting a raise, right, Damon? And Damon's like, goodbye, head. And just
Damon's like, yeah.
kind of beheads the dude.
He does, because Oscar kind of got him back. Oscar's like, you can't treat us this way. And Damon is bummed because he liked this guy. This guy was kind of like a good sidekick. He passed the sidekick test. He's doing everything right, but he had to kill him because
he was a good murdering assistant. It's really hard to find a good assistant who is not only like great at taking calls, but fantastic at like slaughter of innocent people.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really on the rise in Damon's corporation, but sometimes those regulators come by and like you got to make some cuts, literally. So then Damon is like, well, that was fun. I had a nice scene there. Didn't have to hallucinate. Oh no, it's a hallucination. There's my dead brother sitting on my bed. All right, well, let's do this. Let's have another hallucination.
Yeah. So yeah, he goes, and also I would like to say there's no Botox for Damon. I feel like other people get it, but Damon's like, you know what, the future is now, and I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to have a one certain wrinkle. I saw somebody say, like, on Twitter, they were saying, why is everybody after Damon when he looks like a foot? First of all, that's extremely rude. I think Damon is kind of handsome. But then when he does his forehead wrinkle, he does look like the bottom of a foot. Just that part of his head really does. And, I don't know. Everyone else gets Botox. Why not Damon? Make it
Right.
fair.
So Damon is now in his bedroom and he's having a vision of Viserys in his most decrepit, falling apart face on the bed, and he's holding the crown. And Damon's like, "What's this?" Which is like, it's literally a crown. Like, how do you not realize it's the crown? And Viserys goes, "I never wanted it. I was right not to. All the pain I caused, it crushes whoever wears it. You always wanted it. Do you want it still? La 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 la." And Damon stares at the crown. I'm like, oh my god. Can we please end Damon's hallucination arc? It is driving me nuts. I thought we got through the episode. It was like, oh my god, we finally had a Damon scene that did not start with him lying in bed and someone's footsteps showing up beneath his doorway. Like, I was like, oh my god, we're back in another hallucination.
Well, at least this one was short, and we also got to see Damon behead somebody, so that was fun.
It was quick. It was quick. So we go back to King's Landing, and now Aegon is trying to walk across the room, and Orwell is supporting him. And then there's like
It's like
a
physical
cane
therapy
snaps.
before they came up with like any like real way to do physical therapy. This is how they used to do it then. Move, hurry, do it, walk, stupid. You're falling down. You're dumb. Do it again. Get up. Here. Here, where
Aegon's
are you?
cane.
Here, let me hit it with a stick.
Okay. I have something to say here. You guys are like literally at the top of the pecking order of this entire continent. Can you not source a better cane? Like, this cane snaps and Aegon falls to the ground and he's like, ugh. And of course, and Orwell falls too. Like, Orwell, you're supposed to be supporting this guy. How are you not? You're supposed to be there in case the cane snaps. There's something is fundamentally wrong with the care that Aegon is getting.
Well, also, he's so thin. Like, you can't even find a cane that will hold up a thin person. What are the rest of us going to have to deal with? You know what I mean? It's like you can't even break your leg in that town.
Orwell just starts putting leaves on the cane. No, the cane doesn't need the leaves. Actually, no one needs the leaves, Orwell. I have to break it to you. The leaves are doing nothing.
Yeah, so Laris is like banging on the door. He's like, "Let me in." Like, Laris doesn't have a key, please. So he comes in and he helps them. And he's like, "Wow." So he kind of whispers, "By the way, Aegon not doing great." Okay, Aegon. Some accidents on TV, especially soap operas, people like look bad or they have a face cast, and then they come on, their face cast comes off, and there's still Marlena under there, like nothing changed.
Right.
He's not Marlena. I mean, like, he's busted. Okay, he's like
That ear
missing
is
an
gone.
ear. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, it's not going to go well for him. So Laris is like, "Oh, your progress is impressive, but I'm afraid you must work harder because there are adjustments to the gate and so forth that you'll learn now that you're grody." What's the kid say?
So then Laris then goes over to Orwell and is like, "You should be more cautious." And Orwell's like, "Well, I should, Lord Laris. I mean, he needs rest. He should be abed. I push him on your instruction." And Laris is like, "Well, I'll have the sentry give you more warning and let him try again in a few hours. But he's spent. It will be long before he may rest again. ... Meaning shit's going down. This king's got to start walking soon.
Yeah, I'd like that. He's like, you need to be more careful. He's like, "You're the one who made me get him out of bed." He's like, "But still." So then we go to Dragonstone. Oh, the Dragonstone shipyard. There you go. That answered your
There we
question.
go.
And it is due to Chelsea, our fantastic note taker on here, who's way smarter than we will ever be. Yes, they are at the Dragonstone shipyard. There you go.
So they are not at high tide, which explains, because otherwise we would have seen many plates full of, all you can eat shrimp cocktail from the buffet.
Yeah, they're not at Bodie McShip. So Corliss comes up to Alan. Alan, can I just say, Alan's got to stick up his butt. I've never seen anybody this tight. I mean, the guy is just like, his butt is puckered. Corliss is like, "Well, I've got tasks that need your personal attention, some that I was going to love, except that the other one is now riding a dragon. So was it me who was wrong? I will not be wrong. Will you ride a dragon?" And he's like, "Listen, I am really good at boat things, and I'm going to stick to boat things." And he's like, "Well, your brother is a dragon rider now. So are you going to audition for that?" And he's like, and he says, "I confess, I knew very little of your mother's heritage."
Mm.
Dun dun dun.
So maybe he didn't know. And Alan's like, well, you know what? My brother was always restless and he always wanted to, he always wanted some sign of his worth. But I am salt and sea. I am down to make ships. I don't want to be on a dragon. I
He's
want to
like,
just
I am not the. He's like, I barely know how to work in Instagram, and that fucker's been buying followers for years. Okay, why is his "I Ride Dragons Now" announcement got like 83,000 likes, but only 3 comments? Okay, ask yourself.
Listen, I don't even own a TV. Okay. That's just I like to read. That's just my vibe, Dad. It's like, all right, fine. So now Ray Ray and the I'm not it's actually not Ray Ray,
No,
I'm
this
sorry,
is
Raina.
Raina. Yeah,
Raina and then all the kids. They're leaving the Erie and Jane Erie is just sort of staring at them menacingly. I don't know why. I don't know what her problem is. She should
that
be
lady's a
happy that they're
weirdo.
leaving.
That lady's a
She
fucking
really
weirdo.
is. She's
They
always
need
so
to follow
menacing.
her around more. Yeah, I need to find out what's going on with her. She's a total weirdo. So Ray Ray runs the hell away. She's like, "Oh my god, finally get a break." So she runs away and she is checking out the burnt grass with all the dead animal bones everywhere. And she's basically like, "I'm gonna ride a stray." She's basically like, "I'm gonna go find that stray and I'm gonna claim it."
Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. So then Alicent, meanwhile, is riding on horseback and Sir Ricard is setting up camp and he's like, what are we doing here? What is this task that we're doing? I'm sitting here like dealing with eating like a mouse that I caught, a squirrel. And she's just like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now. I'm gonna get in this tiny tent, have fun sleeping in the poison ivy. Fucker, good night.
Can I just say, Allison's whole "go find myself" storyline is probably the most boring I've ever seen. I mean, this is supposed to be her eat, pray, love moment, and literally, she just walks around for maybe 5 minutes and then like lies down in some water and looks up at the sky and then sees a bird flying and she's like, "I know what I must do." Really? Is that your whole storyline? I need you to go fuck a stranger, Allison. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I need you to like do some drugs in a foreign city. I need you
thank
to
you.
like steal a Kia. You know what I mean? Like a pre a pre
Like an actual
2020 Kia.
Kia. Yeah, not a metaphorical Kia. Like they should have a Kia on the show and she just steals it and just drives
Yeah,
around.
like do something. I mean,
Don't do
this
no
whole like, "I've
donuts.
taken a walk and now my life has changed." No, Allison,
Yeah.
I need more.
Yeah, Sir Ricard is on. God, he really hates his position right now. So now we're back at Dragonstone and Jace. So Ray Ray is at her little desk, and Jace comes in, and he's really bratty today. Okay, Jace is brat, in the worst way, and he's like, "Mother, the lowborn claiming dragons, was that her idea, Lady Mazzaria?" And she's like, "Oh, well, you were enthusiastic enough when Sir Stefan made his claim." I'm like, "Do you not remember, Jace, that this was your entire idea 2 weeks ago?" Of like, let's look through scrolls and find someone to ride the dragon, and now you found someone to ride the dragon, and now you're mad about it. Come on,
Yeah, but he's like, "But now you're finding mongrels," which we don't use that kind of language in this house, sir.
no,
Okay.
you do not.
Also, pot calling kettle. Like,
Yeah,
what are you doing? You're not allowed to do that. It's very self-hating of you, Jace. And she's like, "What is your problem?" And he's like, "Okay, here's my problem. Obviously you were banging Strong, who's my real dad, because I have dark hair. Okay. What do you think I don't know? You think I don't hear people making fun of me and calling me a bastard? Okay. Well, I'm allowed to ride a dragon because you're still lying to everybody about my parentage. But now if everybody who is a bastard gets to ride a dragon, now it makes me look worse." It's like, that ship has sailed. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I'm like, sorry, you're the one who came up with this idea, and now it's like it's desperate times call from desperate measures, sir. She's like, well, what would you have me do? Prosecute a war which we will lose, in which thousands will die, or fly against Vagar myself, or perhaps you will fly against her on Vermax. I mean, come on now. You have a dragon that sounds almost like Carmax. That's just embarrassing.
Not to mention, Vermax has ingested so many other dragons that we're now just calling it Max.
It's just easier.
I mean, yes, you could fly as yourself, or you could fly as Chip and Joanna fly. I mean, there's just so many more options under one umbrella now. Understand?
So Jace is like, well, what happens when you die? And she's like, dum dum, you're my heir. Do you not remember what this is all about? He's like, but this is when he's like, but whatever, but I look like Harwin Strong, okay? Like, didn't that cross your mind? Like, I'm a bastard. And he's just really emo about this whole
Yeah, he was
thing.
basically saying, "Look, I had a right to your throne because I could kind of prove that I belong there because I rode a dragon, but now you're just letting any old fool ride a dragon. And so now it's going to be easier for people to argue against me taking the throne or whatever." I'm like, you know what?
No.
You might want to just concentrate on living long enough because literally nobody on this show does. So,
Yeah.
like, let's calm it down. Okay.
Why
There are
don't you
like
focus
a
on
million, there are like a million people who are the product of brother and sister relationships ahead of you at this point.
Yeah, why don't you focus on like being likable, and that way when you are named king, people are like, yeah, I'm down with that, instead of just being a baby right now. So now Mazaria walks up to Alan of Hull, and she's like, Alan of Hull, do whatever you must to see that this finds its way to her. She hands him a message. And so Alan then gives the message to a fisherman, and the fisherman goes to King's Landing with a basket of fish, and guess who he finds? Alinda. And so he gives a message to Alinda, and then Alinda starts going around to everyone in King's Landing and starts whispering. She's a little gossip at Alinda in her little Red Riding Hood, and it's just a big scene of stirring up the small folk.
And finally, we get to the tavern, and this is where Ulf is. And they're like, Ulf, can we take your order? He's like, I'd love a cat. Like, too soon, Ulf. So basically, Ulf's friends are giving him shit because they have just heard that there are dragon. And
Yes.
Ulf has been bragging about being a dragon rider. They call him Ulf the Dragon Rider or some shit. And so they're like, well, Ulf, you've been bragging about it. Listen, you've been telling us that you can hit as many octaves as Mariah. So now's your time to squeak. And he's like, oh my God, but what if I can't squeak? And they're like, are you a fucking liar or are you not? Are you a man or are you an Ulf?
Yeah. So now they're basically like, they hate Ulf, right? They see Ulf as like this grifter who's always annoying, who's always bragging about this dubious claim that he's a Targaryen. And so finally they're like, oh yeah, well, why don't you prove it? Do it. Do it. Because guess what? You've been getting lots of free drinks around here. And if suddenly you're not a Targaryen, you're gonna owe a lot of money. So he's like, fine. So he has to kind of go and do this thing, even though he really does not want to.
And then we go over to Hugh Hammer, second best name on the show. So we go over to Hugh Hammer's house, and I guess their daughter died. Did that happen last week?
We didn't see it, but like we had several weeks of the daughter in bed going, but now she's dead. R.I.P.
Turns out that cabbage did not save her. No, I think it was romaine that he had last week. Remember when he's like, I'll take that. I'm going to steal that food right from you. And it's romaine.
By the way, everyone's so hungry in the city. Why would anyone dare throw a fish at the queen? That's nourishment.
Because they're sick of fish. They were getting fish, and they were very upset about fish.
Queen of the fish.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love the sick burns on this show.
Queen of the fish. You're a real fish queen. So then Cat, they're talking, and Cat's like, no, you don't have to do this. I have a brother in Tumbleton. He's like, oh God, Tumbleton, really?
That's not even a real place. We looked it up. Tumbleton does not exist. It's from children's literature. No, I swear he's from Tumbleton. He says it in his letters.
And he's like, no, I can't ignore this audition. Now listen, there are things I've never told you. I didn't know my father. That's true, but I did know my mother. I hid it from you. She worked in a pleasure house. She was granted more freedom than most because of who she was, and because rich men paid more to fuck a woman with silver hair. Dun, dun, dun. She used to tell me, dun, 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 I was no different, dun, 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 to her brothers, Viserys, and her brothers' boys, Viserys and Daemon. Dun, dun,
dun, dun. So Viserys and Daemon's aunt was a prostitute. Is that what we're hearing? She fell from grace and worked in a pleasure house.
Do you want me to educate you on what I learned from Reddit? I don't think it's a spoiler alert if I learned, because I thought it was pretty interesting. Hold on, because I've got 9 million screenshots in here. Because
this is like when you find out someone famous is on OnlyFans.
Okay, so this is from the House of the Dragon subreddit. I read a comment in there. I thought it was interesting. The mention of the pleasure house means Hugh's mother is specifically Princess Sarah Targaryen. He was very hard on her because she was very defiant and refused to conform. After a big sex scandal, she was sent to the Silent Sisters. She escaped after a year and a half. She fled to Lys, where she was a very popular courtesan. Allison said that the Lizeni had made her daughter a whore. Jaehaerys answered that she was always a whore. Allison attempted to bring her back to court several times, but Jaehaerys refused. The argument resulted in one of their great rifts. Blum, blum, blum.
Wow.
So this Sarah was kind of a badass, and I hope that she's a character in a future story because I like her. She's like, I'm gonna fuck whoever I want, Dad, and he's like, fine, go have fun in a whorehouse. And she's like, I will. I'm gonna be the best hooker in all of the land. And he's like, oh, good. Well, you're never coming back to this house for dinner. She's like, I don't eat anyway, you old boomer.
So there it is. That's because we saw Hugh. We're like, Hugh has really blonde hair, and he's been featured a lot on this show for no good reason. So
This isn't a
basically,
terribly mysterious show. I have to say that. This is
it's
not
not.
a show that really pulls some mysteries on us and makes us. I mean, how can you? Everybody's blonde.
Well, there was a good twist that I'll get to a little bit later. For me, it was a good twist. So he's basically like, yeah, so it's sort of awkward, but I actually am a Targaryen, so I think I should probably do this. And she's like, but I don't want to be a widow. And he goes, well, I have to do something, otherwise I'm just sitting here with you eating fish. No offense, but I'm just saying, let me just do this, okay?
Mm. Yeah, so he's like, I'm out of here. And she's like, but why? We have such a good life. I mean, our daughter just died. We have no money. We haven't been paid for weapons in years. We don't have a movie theater in town. I mean, why would you want to leave here? Why would I want to leave here? This is amazing.
He's like, but dragons. So now we see the small folks. They're all getting onto boats. Even though I thought that King's Landing was closed, I thought no one could get out of the city. But now all of a sudden they can get out of the city. So they're getting on the boats, and
Maybe
we
after the
see
riots, they open it back up a little bit.
maybe they're like, you know what, maybe open. Yeah, could have
I
been.
don't know.
So we see Hughes in line, but we also see Ulf is in line, and Alan is helping people on the boat because he loves boats. And then, meanwhile, over in the forest, Allison is being annoying and looking at birds in the sky while she floats in the lake. And for a moment, it seems like she might just kill herself. That's what I thought. Not to laugh at that, but I thought like she was gonna be like, "What purpose do I have? What was I made for?" And but she doesn't. She actually gets inspired by the bird, and she's like, "I like this." So we'll see how that plays out next week, I guess.
So then we go to Dragonstone, and Rhaenyra's watching all these blonde people, all the poor blondes being brought in. And we see the dragon keepers having a fucking fit. They're like, this is an abomination. We are people who are trained to poke dragons with sticks. We will not have poor people coming in and messing with them. Like,
You,
listen, you're no winners with PETA, Dragon Keeper. Okay. He's like, we're out of
Mhm.
here. I'm like, get out of here. No one wants you anyway, you fucking poker, you stick poker. Get out of
You're
here.
not doing anything. You're not helping. Look, we've already seen someone get on a dragon without you, and we're about to see two more people get on without you. So honestly, your position is purely ceremonial. So don't think that you have any sway here.
Yeah. So they're all mad, and they bring in. She's like, "Well, listen, we've got to try. I mean, Sir Darkland had the blood of the dragon. He's like, that was a blasphemy. He was no dragon lord, and neither are these." So basically, they leave all pissy, and then she's like, "I shall now walk amongst the people and give a speech." And so she gives a speech about how I used to think that being rich was everything because I was rich. But now I'm kind of poor and I realize maybe it's okay not being as rich. Anybody following me? Or are you all too poor? So like, no, we kind of get it. She's like, okay, because frankly, you're poor people, so you're very stupid. Except that now I believe that poor people may not be as stupid. What is 2 + 2? Anybody? How stupid are we? Anybody?
Okay, so well, here's the news. Turns out we have a dragon that's almost as big as Vega. Surprise, 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 surprise. There's a big dragon here, and we need someone to ride it. So we call Vermithor. Its name is Vermithor, but we also call it Bronze Fury. So you can call it either way. It's fine. So if anyone wants to try to get on this enormous dragon, good luck. I'll just be up there in the balcony watching. So
Some people have a
just walk up
calling
to
towards
it.
the Lord. Some people have a calling for a dance. And you have a call for dancing with lords on dragons. Everyone here? All right. Most of you will probably die. Guess what? You're poor people. You're going to die anyway. Food poisoning. By the way, just sent a shipment of romaine that had rat poop on it. I hope you all wash that with clean non-fish water before you ate that. Anyway, most of you will die anyway because you're poor. So would you rather die of dysentery or dragon fire?
All right,
Congratulations. You've got the
who
option.
who wants to come up first? Who? Oh my goodness, Courtney Love! What an exciting thing! I didn't even know you were here. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought my mistake. You're just a regular poor person. Okay, step right up. We don't know who you are. We've never seen you before, so you're probably going to die. And I will just step over here and watch this unfold. So of course this poor guy, walks up, tries this big ass dragon, huge
I know,
dragon.
and I love that. She's like, I'll be over here because I've done my speech. Good luck dying. Bye. I'll be watching from the balcony.
So this guy goes up and he tries to touch the dragon, and like within a second, I mean, this dragon is like blowing fire at him. Everyone's dying. People are running. There's chaos. The dragon's going nuts. It turns into Jurassic Park. This is the T-Rex chomping down on people. It's like Jurassic Park and Godzilla all together. People are running. People are fleeing. Ulf winds up grabbing a torch and running deep into the dragon den, which is not smart, but he goes off. And then meanwhile, Hugh is hiding, and then he's behind a rock, and the dragon's doing its thing, and then there's a lady, but then the lady tries to run for it, and the dragon goes after the lady. So Hugh is like, no, he tries to be heroic. So he steps in front. He distracts. He does the Jeff Goldblum thing where he waves the dynamite, to distract the T-Rex. And so the dragon comes over to him, and Hugh is like, come on, come on.
And apparently this dragon is really turned on by like aggro dudes screaming things.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, somebody's screaming at me. I'm in. You're my guy now. And it's like, yes, you got it. And I really liked that before all this happened, Ray walked right to this big ass dragon who's terrifying. She's like, come, dragon. And the dragon listened to her, which I thought was really cool. And then she's like, hello, dragon. And it like put its head down to her. And then she like puts her hand out and touches this big snout. And he's just like, God damn it, you've got soft hands. And she's like, I never do an ounce of physical labor. That's the secret. And it's like, I love you. She's like, I love you too. And so I think it gave everybody false confidence because they were like, oh my God, what a nice dragon. And then the dragon ate them all.
Yes.
Literally just ate them all. And they could not run anywhere because they were stuck in a dragon pit. So, okay, so that one is claimed. So then Ulf is thinking he's getting away, and now he's in like a separate little cave. He's like run to another cave. And then Crunch, he steps on a dragon egg, which not easy to come by those. Also, I thought dragon eggs were a lot harder than that because aren't dragon eggs like big giant stones that they can never open or do anything with?
I thought so. Also, how did he not see the big dragon that was there? Like, I feel like we see a wide shot of him walking in, and we see blatantly a dragon. Like, we see the wings and everything. I'm like, do you not see there's a dragon just lying there? Are you going to at least try to like strafe against the wall?
It was
But
behind
he just
him,
walks
I
right in the
think.
middle. It was behind him?
Yeah, the dragon was behind him because you see the dragon behind him because he's holding a light or whatever. He's holding fire, and then you see the dragon kind of rising up behind him. It's like a spooky dragon, and it's also, I think, the same color of the walls. It's like it's a pretty tricky dragon.
So at this point, I think Ulf is a goner because there was talk. Someone had messaged us like, "Oh, Ulf is claiming that he's half Targaryen, but it's really going to be Hugh Hammer." And so it was Hugh Hammer. So I was like, "Aha!" So now Ulf is going to get his comeuppance for lying. So then, like, Ulf is scared. The dragon's coming to him, and Ulf is like scared, and he stumbles back, and he's lying up against the rocks, and then the
dragon comes in and starts pushing him.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, he starts like pushing him like a ball and knocking him down. And so he keeps falling down over and over again. And finally he's like, oh, just fucking kill me. He just basically gives up. And the dragon's like, you know what I love? I hate aggro guys screaming in my face. I love people who just fall down and play dead. He's like,
Yes.
Possum is such a fun game. You're mine now.
And Ulf laughs, so I thought, oh, this is like they're doing a fake out. Like, okay, it seems like they bonded, and then the dragon's just gonna come and eat him. But no, actually, it worked. They're both are riders.
I was really hoping Ulf was going to get killed because he's annoying.
Yeah, he's not charismatic.
He's like a busker. I just
Yeah.
feel like he's gonna like sing a cover and ask me for money, and I'm like, can I just eat my Mexican food? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I did not come here for you. I came here for a taco. Like,
He
leave me
just wants
alone.
to talk about Jimmy Buffett all the time, you know?
Yeah, it's like Whitney Houston assault. Like, leave me alone. Okay.
So over at King's Landing, there's we're over at the small council where they're just like business, business, business. Oh, House Beesbury is doing things. Those people are at the House Beesbury's, and there's this and that, whatever, and triarchy. And then people outside are being like, dragon, dragon, dragon. So this totally disrupts the meeting. And
Well, we also
Aemon,
hear in this that Prince Darren's dragon, Tessarion, has taken to wing. So we still haven't met Darren. That's the other son of Alicent that has been
right.
raised in the other place. So apparently he's raring to go. His dragon's like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Which means that probably I'm going to assume next week there'll be some giant battle. And just when it seems like the good guys have beaten the bad guys, Damon's going to come out of nowhere with his dragon and like ruin everything. And Ray Ray and her people are going to have to retreat. That is my prediction.
Well, yeah, because she's got the most dragons now, right? I think she's got like a zillion dragons now. So basically, they're like, dragon, there's a dragon outside. So they go out, and Adam is just driving his. He's like, look, I can drive, and he's just driving all over the freeway. He's everywhere. He's all over the town. He's not staying within the lines. Or is this Ulf?
This is Ulf. Sorry,
this is Ulf. Yeah, this is Ulf. That was my bad.
Yeah, and Ulf is being silly. So Ulf is like, okay, he's a dragon rider, but he is not going to be a reliable dragon rider, and he's going to be annoying about it. And so he has now provoked with his own silliness. He's now provoked Aemon. So Aemon is mad. So he like runs out of the city, and he goes and he finds Vhagar, who is just like hiding in the trees. And he hops on Vhagar, and I guess he goes to chase down Silverwing. But as he chases down Silverwing over to Dragonstone, he then sees that, whoa, there are a bunch of people riding dragons over there. It's not so great. So he turns around.
Yeah, and Vhagar is not listening to his ass, by the way. He's having trouble controlling that gigantic dragon, but he's trying, and finally Vhagar does listen, and they turn back. And Vhagar, I'm kind of jealous because it has a very tiny tongue. She has a very tiny tongue, and I have a very large tongue. And so I'm like, I have tongue envy because I'm like, I have gay tongue, and my tongue is gigantic, and I can't pronounce words right. And look at Vhagar with this little tiny short tongue. So congratulations, ma'am. But anyway, they fly away, and then we get a shot of Ray Ray, who like comes out on the lawn, and she's like, "That's right. You better get off my fucking lawn, you damn kids." And then we see the three dragons like kind of coming around her, kind of reminiscent of a Dany shot with her three dragons. And it's just like a really nice family photo. Oh, it's really sweet.
Yeah. It is really sweet. And so then next week I guess we're going to see how this all plays out. Like what's going to happen. I would like to see Daemon be doing something consequential to this show, because he's just been stuck in Harrenhal having hallucinations and trying to get the river folk together. So hopefully he will now have his band of river folk fighters, and they will do something of consequence to the overall narrative. That would be lovely. But
I think it'll be a lot of nothing happening, and then in the last 10 minutes they'll get in a big battle, and like someone we love will die, but then it'll still be kind of a cliffhanger for the next time.
Yeah.
Don't.
And ultimately Aemon and his people are going to get the upper hand yet again.
And we will find out what happens on the 5,000th episode of Watch What Crappens.
Yes, we'll be doing 2,500 more between now and Monday.
decade.
Thank you very much.
In another decade. Oh no, I mean after that. Like we'll find out after what happens in that cliffhanger.
It could have gone either way, to be honest.
In 90 years when the show returns. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. And we will talk to you next week for the season finale.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.